Rome, Italy. Vincenzo Casano, a legal advisor of the Italian mafia Fabio Casano, that is, a consigliere of the Casano family. Vincenzo wakes up early and is heading to Emilio's house. Emilio asks him how he can do business even on the day his boss died. Vincenzo asks Emilio to sign the last offer of his boss Fabio. Emilio rejects without a thought. Vincenzo tells him that it was the last act of mercy from his boss Fabio's side after Emilio killed Carlo, Fabio's best friend, and took his vineyard and union leader position. Seeing Emilio, who is still stubborn, Vincenzo warns him not to regret rejecting the offer as he is gonna pay for it and leave the house. That is when Emilio noticed the aircraft spraying pesticides. Turns out it wasn't spraying pesticides. Vincenzo throws his lighter and the whole vineyard starts burning. Vincenzo heads towards the church to his boss Fabio's funeral. Fabio's son Paolo argues with Vincenzo, telling burning the whole vineyard was stupid and his father trusted Vincenzo more than himself. Vincenzo tells him that it was the order given to him and his father didn't trust him because he always went against Fabio's words and broke the rule of never hurting women and children. Paolo asks Vincenzo to be more loyal as he is gonna be his new boss. Vincenzo replies that he will be loyal to him as long as he deserves it. Vincenzo reached home. While he was resting, many men burst into his house and tried to kill him. Vincenzo, who was hiding, kills them all. He knew that it was one of Paolo's dirty tricks. Paolo came back home after a party and just as he got off the car blasted. Vincenzo calls Paolo and tells him that he was letting him go just out of respect to Fabio and he never deserved to be his boss. He also told him that he was leaving Italy and never returning, so he better not look for him. Vincenzo is in a flight to Korea reading the documents about Geumga plaza demolishment. This is Hong Chae-young, a lawyer at Wusang law firm. She is bribing a participant in the research team of Babel pharmacy company. Babel had developed a new drug called RDU90. A lot of people died due to the side effects while testing the drug, and Hong Chae-young was bribing one of the participants in the research team who wanted to expose Babel. Chae-young is heading to court for the hearing of Babel's new drug issue. She scolds an intern, Junwoo, who is now her assistant for coming late. Hong Chae-young defends Babel at the court, claiming that the drug has been tested in several countries and has been approved as a safe medicine. The opposition, Mr. Hong Yu-chan, who owns Jipuragi law firm and also the father of Chae-young, brings up the statement of one of the research participants about the truth of the drug. This is when Chae-young comes up with the changed statement of the researcher after forcing and bribing him. She tells the court that the researcher made such a false statement to extort money from Babel and now he was conscience stricken and decided to turn himself in. Hong Yu-chan is left without any evidence to prove the truth. The court announced another hearing after 1 week. Outside the court, Hong Yu-chan is desperate. He tells Chae-young that he is gonna disown her soon. Chae-young starts crying and tells him to let go of this fight and concentrate on the family. Hong Yu-chan tells her to quit being a lawyer and start an acting class, and that way she can stop ruining other people's life. And he takes a leave. Meanwhile, at Wusang law firm, Chae-young's boss, Mr. Hang Sung-hyuk, is highly impressed by Chae-young's performance at the court. He even gives her a bonus. The cops at the airport asks Vincenzo his passport for identification. After finding he is a Korean Italian, the cops let him go. Outside the airport, a cab driver offers him a ride. Vincenzo asks him to take him to Geumga. Without knowing, Vincenzo drinks the water in the cab containing sleeping pills. International Security Intelligence Service Korea. This is Agent Anji-sok. He got an alert from Europe about Vincenzo's arrival in Korea. He has suspicions about why Vincenzo came to Korea. Vincenzo wakes up seeing the cab driver and his accomplice looting him. He gets kicked and wakes up just with 50,000 won the kidnappers left. Vincenzo shouts and swears at them. He takes a bus to reach Geumga Plaza. He thinks about his goal to tear down this building. Flashback 5 years ago, Milan. Mr. Wang, a Chinese tycoon, tells Vincenzo that Fabio told him that Vincenzo knows a way to keep his gold safe. Vincenzo tells him a way the Cassano family has been using for the past 50 years to hide their gold. First, they will buy an old building in Korea and put it in Mr. Cho's name, who is like an assistant to Mr. Wang to avoid any suspicions. Then they should make it look like business is going on there. There should be shops. Then they should hire builders to create a secret room in the basement to hide the gold. The gold must be brought in small quantities. The access to the safe room must be secured by a biometric system that only recognizes Mr. Wang. This is when Mr. Cho arrives at Geumga Plaza. Vincenzo asks him how things are going on in the plaza. Mr. Cho tells him that there are two main problems that the plaza is facing right now. Firstly, there is a development opposition committee that has been formed by the tenants in the plaza for stopping Mr. Cho from selling the plaza. And secondly, Babel company is buying all the shops there for expansion and is now compelling Mr. Cho to sell the plaza to them. One of the tenants of the plaza, Mr. Lee, is suspicious of Vincenzo and goes to the Jipuragi law firm which is inside the plaza itself. He informs Hong Yu-chan, the owner of Jipuragi law firm, and his assistant Mr. Nam about Vincenzo. Hong Yu-chan, who is also the chairman of the Development Opposition Committee, doubts that Vincenzo came there to help Mr. Cho sell the plaza to Babel. Hong Yu-chan tells Mr. Lee to inform other tenants about Vincenzo. Mr. Cho takes Vincenzo to his room. Vincenzo is disgusted by the room's bad condition, but calms down by thinking that he won't be there for long. Later, Mr. Cho takes Vincenzo to show the shops in the plaza and the tenants over there. He sees a creepy girl named Somari playing a piano, a dry cleaning shop with an owner giving a death stare, an Italian restaurant with a weird chef named Toto, a dance studio with a creepy dancer, Mr. Lee and his wife fighting at their shop, a snack bar whose owner beats up her own son, and then the Jipuragi law firm. Vincenzo is done with the tenants. Mr. Cho took him to the basement where the gold is kept. A temple was formed on top of the basement. Even the monks there is not happy with Vincenzo's presence in the plaza. Vincenzo gives his suit to the dry cleaner as it was all dirty after the looting incident. He tells the owner to take extra care as it was a limited edition suit. The dry cleaner calls it cheap and ignores his request. By this time, all the tenants were gathered outside the dry cleaning shop. Mr. Hong Yu-chan, also the chairman of the Development Opposition Committee, asks why Vincenzo was there. Vincenzo replies that he came there to advise Mr. Cho in the plaza's decisions. Mr. Hong Yu-chan tells Vincenzo to keep their promise of not selling the plaza to Babel. Vincenzo promised not to sell the plaza and he introduced himself. When he mentioned him being an Italian, the tenants turned to Toto, who had claimed to have studied cooking in Italy. When Vincenzo asked where he stayed in Italy, he replies that he lived in the heart of Milan. Vincenzo asked if it was Uffizi, and he said yes. Vincenzo gave him a smirk and called a meeting with the tenants the next day. Vincenzo hates this place and people already. When he finally got to rest, a pigeon kept tapping on the window, disturbing his sleep. Vincenzo tries to chase it away. Vincenzo, who is disturbed and unable to sleep, reads a document relating to transferring of a prisoner. Flashback. Mrs. O, who was a housekeeper at the Babel's chairman Hongduk Bey's house, is accused of killing the chairman. The court sentenced her to life imprisonment. She tries to defend herself by saying that she did it as a self-defense when the chairman tried to sexually assault her. But the opposition brings up her past of her abandoning her own child at the orphanage to show the court her cruel side. She is helpless and accepts the punishment. Vincenzo reads the name of a new lawyer, and it was Hong Yu-chan of Jipuragi law firm. The next day, Vincenzo visits Toto at his restaurant and orders food. Toto is scared whether Vincenzo found out about him lying being an Italian chef. Vincenzo tastes his food and calls it garbage. Vincenzo, who already knew the truth, tells him that Uffizi is an art gallery in Florence and leaves by calling him a con artist. Hong Yu-chan is at the prison to meet Mrs. O. He asks Mrs. O the 100th time to go for a retrial, which she rejects again. Vincenzo also leaves the prison after taking a look at Mrs. O. He was actually the son whom she abandoned. Vincenzo is in a meeting with Babel's representative at Jipuragi law firm in the plaza. He tells that he is planning to demolish the building to build a new one and give tenants their shops. He clearly says that he has no intention to sell the plaza to Babel. Even though Babel's representative offers him a huge sum, he rejects it. Vincenzo meets the tenants and promises them to build a new building and that he has no intention to sell the plaza. The tenants accept his proposal. Hong Yu-chan, who don't trust Vincenzo yet, tells him to put down his nice guy act. He tells him that people like him only support rich people. When Mr. Choi returns home, he sees his wife and child being kidnapped by goons sent by Babel. He is blackmailed to sign the agreement to sell off the plaza to Babel Company. Chayoung gets a legal letter from her dad to relinquish his parental rights. She gets mad and goes straight to Jipuragi law firm. Meanwhile, Vincenzo is screaming at the dry cleaner who was careless to shrink his limited edition suit. The dry cleaner calls the suit cheap. Vincenzo screams that it costs a fortune. That's when he gets a call from Mr. Choi. He explains how he was compelled to sell the plaza to Babel. Just at that moment, a truck hit Mr. Choi's car. Park Sok-do, a loan shark representing Babel, arrives with his men demanding the tenants to vacate the plaza as soon as possible, as now the plaza belongs to Babel. The tenants blame themselves for trusting Vincenzo, thinking that Vincenzo sold the plaza to Babel. When Park Sok-do tried to harm the people, Vincenzo comes and beats those people up. All the tenants are impressed except Hong Yu-chan.